Cam Newton, one of a number of players who have come out in recent weeks in support of Colin Kaepernick. Nick, I'm curious, what was your reaction to his comments?
Well, first of all, I was curious to hear it from Cam. Cam, despite being not only one of the faces of the league, but this is obviously a story that is cloaked in race, Cam being one of the two most prominent black quarterbacks in the league, has sat this one out for the most part.
Yes.
He's been a guy that has not, I think part of that has to do with the man that owns the team, Jerry Richardson. I think part of that might have to do with where his team is located, and it might have to do with the fact that Cam, much like other prominent athletes of the past, might just not have strong opinions on this stuff and say, I am here to play football. I am not equipped to have this discussion. So Cam coming out in support of Kaepernick surprised me. Now, people I know, because people are disingenuous with things, they are going to seize on the fact that he said the ultimate sacrifice. And the ultimate sacrifice in life or in a military sense is always talking about soldiers that die. Right. So if we can, that was maybe a poor choice of words. But what he meant,
well, I think the ultimate sacrifice as an athlete.
There you go. That's exactly what I was going to say. The ultimate professional sacrifice, the ultimate sacrifice that a football player can make, which is taking a stand that Kaepernick knew could cost him his job. I don't think he thought it would cost him his job. And I've been thinking a lot lately about what our friend Jenna Wolfe keeps mentioning, because other people are mentioning as well. Why won't Cap talk? How could, at this point, if he's unemployed.
At this point,
why won't he talk? Right. Why won't he talk?
When everyone else seems to.
When everyone else is, and when it would appear he has nothing to lose, right? I mean, he's not employed. And I think Colin Kaepernick is, and it's something that I've grown to, I think, respect even more, is he is, it would appear, making the point, I'm not going to kiss any rings. And I am not going to ask for my job back because I shouldn't have to. And if I don't get a job, it only makes my protest, my cause, resonate more. And so Colin told you he wants to play football.
Yes.
You told us he's in football shape.
Yeah, he's in amazing shape.
He go ahead. I'm
wants
sorry.
To play. Well, now we know he wants to play NFL football.
Wants to play NFL football.
He doesn't want to play football. He only wants to play in the NFL.
Well, there's.
And the backstory is just that.
It's a lot of guys that would play in the NBA but not go to Europe.
But then we're not talking about a lot of guys. We're talking about Colin Kaepernick. His agent was. They reached out to his agent and
approached him with the CFL.
The Montreal Alouettes.
Yeah.
They have his rights. My son played for Montreal for 3 years. Every person playing in the CFL, including my son, Duran, this will be his 4th year there, they're playing in the CFL for a reason. It's because they can't get on to an NFL team. And/or, I would say 99% of the players in the CFL don't have the talent to play in the NFL. Now, there are some guys that have played in the NFL, but they couldn't stay in the NFL. 1, 2, 3-year veterans in the NFL, but the CFL, that's another opportunity. And Colin shouldn't have to play in the CFL. It's great to see that Colin is able to get some support by the most prominent, especially quarterbacks. Cam, that was nice because Cam didn't have this stance for a long time. So Cam, like a lot of people, reluctantly has been drugged into this based on kind of the challenge that was issued last week by the president. So Cam, like a lot of other players, he was very uncomfortable. He went to ownership. He went to Mr. Richardson, had a heart-to-heart talk with him. Then Cam came out with this statement and saying that there would be some type of demonstration of support this weekend. So that will be interesting going forward. But like a lot of players, Nick, you mentioned this. We don't have strong political views. Like, sometimes we don't know how to express them. Now, as far as Colin Kaepernick, it seems as if a lot of people now are fighting his battle. He has more support than he's ever had. And Jenna, you and I have gone back and forth with Nick, should he talk? I do believe at some point There is no better voice for a person's concern than your own voice. It's going to be a time and point where Colin needs to speak for himself, and it's going to be coming up very, very soon because we've muddied the waters as far as social inequality and now the national anthem. But I believe that the NFL, through meetings with owners and other players, they're going to try to come up with something to be able to separate this. Malcolm Jenkins, safety for the Philadelphia Eagles, he's very clear as far as what this is really about. If you ever want to read something good, listen to a lot of his interviews. Doug Baldwin was on a news network the other night. Very, very clear as far as objectives of what people are trying to accomplish. But I believe that Cam, like a lot of other players, because they were forced, that now they will begin to support Colin in a way that we hadn't seen. But there is going to be a time and point, what I believe the breaking point, that Colin's going to have to speak for himself.
A few things. I don't know why there's going to come a time. I mean, if there's a time, in my opinion, this is the time. This is the time where both the sports world and the non-sports world, attention is on the NFL. Politicians, focused on the NFL. People that were never fans of the NFL, focused on the NFL. If Colin Kaepernick was kneeling because he wanted to bring attention to an issue that he had, which, by the way, is an extremely important issue, and I do not want that to get lost on this, that I support fully why Colin Kaepernick was kneeling. My issue back then was the way he was protesting. My issue now is, now that we're all listening, now that you did kneel, we're all listening, please say something. But take that aside. My question now is, it seems very convenient for this to be the time that all these other players are coming out. I wonder why we didn't hear from these players last year.
Out of fear for their job.
Okay, out of fear for their job.
They knew it was a red hot button issue in fear for their job.
Which takes away a little bit of the authenticity of what they're saying. I do believe they agree, but they didn't agree so much that they wanted to risk their job.
Jenna,
or risk
of course, Jenna, everyone didn't sign up for that.
I understand. So
hold on, but let's not. What we do know is this: while there weren't as many players protesting prior to President Trump's comments, there were some. There were 0 owners on board. So let's be fair here. Like, if we're talking about, it's an American issue, it's an important issue. And I thought Eric Reid had a brilliant point yesterday. Eric Reid, one of Kaepernick's teammates.
Yes.
Man that knelt with Kaepernick.
Still plays on San Francisco. Still a starter.
Eric Reid, in a 20-second soundbite yesterday, was outstanding. He said, I love football. Every single day I come into work to try to get better at football. I love my country.
To be the absolute best.
Why would I not work every single day to try to improve my country the way I try to improve myself, my ability?
He also talked about the expectations of his job, to be his absolute best, and the pressure that he has every day to walk into that building, to live up to those expectations of the other great 49ers of past history.
But this is where we are just going to have something of a disconnect. I understand the logic behind. If there was ever going to be a time to talk, now would be the time to talk. I also have a bit of, if I may be, I guess this might sound a little sexist, but kind of old Italian male stubbornness in me. And I can see myself saying, you know what? I shouldn't have to. I cannot tell you how many times in my life I know things, whether it's in my marriage, just apologize. Even if you didn't do anything, just apologize. Make your life easier. If just go to the, how many times I've shown you emails, CC, work emails, that I'm like, when I press send, this makes my life harder, sending it anyway, based on principle. And I believe, it's because I don't believe Colin to be an illogical guy. His principled stand is, this is about, can I play? No interview will show anyone that I can play. So why should I have to talk?
Is the conversation about whether Colin Kaepernick wants to play football?
No.
And don't scream and don't get mad. Let me just finish the question. Is it whether he wants to play football, or is it whether he wants this to be the most important thing in his life right now? The issue I have is that we don't know. I don't know what the most important thing is. It's clearly not just to play football. He only wants to play in the NFL. And you make a very good point. You're right. You play in the CFL because you're not good enough yet to play in the NFL. But the NFL isn't calling to offer him a job. The CFL is calling. So if it's about playing football, go play football. If you want to make a statement, then just make a statement. And it is very easy.
You shouldn't play in a league that is beneath your skill level just because you're taking a political... What?
But then don't complain that you're not playing. If you just want to play football, play football.
Wait a second.
Whoa, I'm just curious, Jenna.
Did you see Mike Glennon last night? Wait a second. Did you see him?
And he struggled mightily. I understand.
Jenna,
I understand he should be playing football in the NFL. I don't have an issue with that.
No, but you do. Wait, stop.
Can I finish my second
Mike Glennon should be playing in the CFL. Did you tell him that?
Well,
no, they gave him $45 million in Chicago.
Well, I didn't give him $45 million. But
you're representing the case of other players.
He wants two things. He wants to make sure that people understand what his cause is and why he started this.
He wants to do what every other American wants to do.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from some of our other great shows on FS1.